I bought my Project Mazda MX-5 for £1,000 and I bought my Project Polo for £400. I'm a firm believer in the idea that project cars should be as cheap as possible to begin with because you're going to end up spending a fortune on them anyway. So with that in mind, I wanted to make a video on 5 of the best cheap project cars that you can buy for under £2,000. How's it going, people? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to another video. One of my favourite topics. As you may know, I love working on cars, and maybe if you're watching this video you do as well. So hopefully in this video you'll see 5 cars that are perfect platforms to start your project car. That was a lot of P's. Now, as I said, I think project cars should start off as cheap as possible. If you want to see the same video again at under £10,000 instead, looking at some slightly more useful starting platforms for project cars, do let me know by hitting the like button. 1,000 likes and I'll make that video. Don't forget I'm in the UK, so prices in other countries may be different. And don't forget, whenever you buy any second-hand car, maintenance, repairs, insurance, road tax, all that good stuff is important to remember. Although when you're buying a project car, there's other things that are more important than that, I guess. Don't forget to hit subscribe as well if you're new. It's free and you get to see 2 videos every single week. But without further ado, let's get into the video. I need to say thanks again to Skillshare for being a long-term supporter of this channel and for sponsoring this video. The first 1,000 people to use the code that you can see on screen here, or click the link in the description or the pinned comment down below, will get a whole month free trial of Skillshare, meaning that 1,000 of you can go and start your learning journey without any major investments on your end. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of members and classes across 150 different countries around the world. My learning journey on Skillshare has generally been around making better content for you guys. I don't think I've ever been particularly good at taking photos, but through watching James Morleen's course on automotive photography, I feel way more empowered to make use of all of my expensive camera equipment and make better content to put out onto my Instagram instead of just here on YouTube. People always say quality over quantity, but I kind of want both on this YouTube channel, and with that in mind, being a not particularly creative person, Skillshare has enabled me to increase my quality and will continue to help me to increase my quality over the coming weeks, months, and probably years. So if you have a specific skill that you're trying to learn, or maybe you want to start your own side hustle or a YouTube channel or an Instagram account or something social media related or anything like that, Skillshare is definitely the right place to start your learning journey, whether you are a beginner or an expert. And if that applies to you, remember, link in the description or the pinned comment below or the code on screen and you will get a month free trial of Skillshare if you're one of those 1,000 first lucky people to take advantage of this offer. So thanks again to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. It is really kind of them to stick by the channel for all this time, but without further ado, let's get back into the video. So let's kick this video off with a car that offers endless opportunities to modify as you so please, whether you're the type of person that wants to get out on track and be quick, or just to make a car have proper tuner vibes. The Ford Fiesta ST 150 is a beaut of a little car. It has a 2-litre inline-4 engine that makes 147 brake horsepower, taking it from 0 to 60 in 7.9 seconds. When I say endless opportunities, I really mean it, as they work well as the car that you do the basics to, like alloys and coilovers, but I've also seen far more aggressive and complete makeovers, including a Cosworth-engined all-wheel drive wide-bodied beast. Now that might be a little bit of a stretch for some people, but if I was getting one of these personally, I would consider turning it into a track car. All it takes is maybe some better suspension, like the KW or BC racing kits, some better brakes, like maybe a set of Willwoods, some lighter alloys like the OZ Ultra Legeras, matched with some nice rubber like the Nankang NS2Rs, then just a bit of weight saving by getting the car a rear seat delete kit and some Sparco bucket seats. And with all that, you are sorted. A fully fledged track car to be proud of. You could also go max power build on these without completely breaking the bank, as the TD04 turbo kit for the car is around £2,500, which isn't bad and will make the car over 300 brake horsepower if mapped correctly. If this is your first project car and you're just into the modifying scene, then I would definitely start with the mods I mentioned to begin with, before you then build it up into something holistic like a track car build or the turbocharged beast. But either way, it's a very good platform to start your modifying journey. These are few and far between in the sub 2k range, but they do start at £1,400, and for around 2k you'll get a 2005 model with high mileage. The timing chain tensioners are the key problem on these, as well as throttle bodies and the gearboxes not being too strong, and they'll need an upgrade if you want to go all out with power. Of all 5 cars on this list, I may well be biased, but this is the one that I would personally go for. The second generation or NB Mazda MX-5, which is a 1.8 litre inline-4 engine that makes 140 brake horsepower, taking it to 60 in in 7.7 seconds. The standard set of mods on these the majority of owners with itchy fingers seem to do is a front lip, some alloys, and the NK RPF ones are the particularly popular set, some coilovers, and ideally a hardtop roof. That's pretty much the baseline that you're working from if you go for a Mark II MX-5, and to be honest, it's not too dissimilar with the Mark I. But if you want to go for something a little bit more interesting, then the MX-5 100% offers you more choice than any other car on this list at way better price points in most cases. Forced induction is possible and not horrendously expensive, though I'd probably budget around £4,000 personally, and ITBs are also doable on these. You've also got a bunch of wide body kits available if you want to have a big boy MX-5, and half cages are really cheap to buy and install, as are bucket seats and the likes. There's also a bunch of stuff available to make the car look and feel more modern, both on the exterior and interior, like the replacement lights, dashboard, and all the rest. But honestly, before you modify one of these, I highly recommend just driving it for a bit. The MX-5 is known for its handling, and as someone who bought one as a result of you lot telling me to back in 2019, and not because I actually wanted one, but then being blown away by how it drove, I can attest. Considering that's the car's USP, I wouldn't start working on it until you felt that. I would recommend doing something similar to what I did first if you get one, sorting out the probable rust on the underside and around the sills, as the car is relatively reliable outside of that, then focusing on enhancing that handling with polybushes, ARBs, and coilovers, then work from there. These are way up in price at the moment, starting around £1,500, with £2,000 getting you a reasonable example from 2003 with around 80,000 miles on it. Taking third is a bit of a rogue one, but a proper need for speed style project car is the Toyota Celica, with its 1.8 litre inline-4 engine with variable valve timing that makes 189 brake horsepower, taking it to 60 in 7.2 seconds standard. This was the 7th and final generation Celica, which dropped in 1999 and ran on until 2006, and I'm old enough to remember thinking they looked super cool when they were new, as I was around 4 to 5 years old when they started appearing regularly on the roads, and to me at the time they were basically supercars because of their more sports car style shape. That engine has appeared in some other Toyotas too. It's a 2ZZ GE that was co-developed with Yamaha, so it's well known in terms of common problems and reliability, as early ones had oil pump issues and some suffered from lifter and variable valve timing damage if not looked after correctly with the correct oil change schedule. Plus, more generally around the car there is some known surface rust, and if you're really unlucky there's pretty bad subframe corrosion on some of these, which can lead to an MOT failure. But as I said, if I was modifying one, I would be heavily influenced by the JDM style of modifying, going over the top with body kit, wing, and graphics. Somehow in my head that just seems right for the Celica, and there aren't many cars that I would personally say that about because it's not my style at all. Of this list, I would say it's probably the more niche car to modify as well, which does mean that parts can be slightly harder to come by, but I think it would also give you something more interesting at a car show. If you turn up to a car event with a properly modified Celica, I'd hazard you'd be far less likely to find an equivalent, whereas the MX-5 or ST we've already spoken about, you'll probably find other people who've messed with them and you'll never feel quite as special. £1,400 the minimum that I could find these listed for, and for £2,000 you'll be looking at a 2002 model with around 100,000 miles on the clock. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I wanted to remind you, 1,000 likes with the same video again at under £10,000, and do hit subscribe if you haven't already, I would really appreciate it. I've never been a huge new Mini fan, but it's hard to ignore how good a project car the R53 Mini Cooper S is, with its 1.6 litre supercharged inline-4 engine that produces 170 brake horsepower, taking it to 60 in 7 seconds. I would consider this car in a similar light to the ST, as either the perfect starter project car for someone just starting to modify cars, or as something to take down the track route. From a track perspective, it's already renowned for its go-kart style handling, and the rear seats are small and quite cramped, so it's no major loss to drop them for weight saving purposes. It definitely benefits from having a supercharger as well, meaning you get instant power that holds through the rev range, plus if you modify the car in the right ways, you unlock a lovely supercharger whine, which I controversially prefer as a noise to a turbocharger whistle. Going back along the track car theme, if you search online on Mini forums or simply Google images, you'll see the majority of people seem to go down a more fast road or track vibe with the car, but that's not all you can do, so don't write it off as an option if you're all about the aesthetics. There are wide body kits available, as well as more expensive parts like air ride and the likes, which means you can turn these into very cool little show cars if low and slow is your preference. Plus, let's not forget the car was designed by Frank Stevenson, who also designed the Maserati MC12, McLaren P1 and the Escort RS Cosworth, so it's definitely in some very good company, and weirdly I've heard rumours about them becoming a future classic just because of their well-loved shape. These start at around £1,600, and for 2k you'll get a 2005 model with around 100,000 miles on it. You need to watch out for rust on these, as well as problems with cylinder heads cracking, which is pretty catastrophic. Outside of that, it's oil leaks, steering pumps, drive shafts and engine mounts which are known problems, but the R53 is definitely better on reliability than its turbocharged successor. Taking the top spot is actually a slightly more difficult car to modify than some of the other cars on this list, but the Mark 1 Audi TT does offer a really cool platform to work from, with its 1.8 litre turbocharged inline-4 engine that makes 221 brake horsepower if you get that well-loved BAM engine code, taking it from 0 to 60 in 6.4 seconds, in part thanks to its all-wheel drive layout. I needed to get a VW Group car into the list, and the TT really gives you a good platform to start working on. There is of course a large scene around modifying VW Group cars, and you can follow the classic clean, low and deep dish vibe that tends to look good on a majority of Audis and VWs from this era. In general, that seems to be the main route to modify one of these, and I do think it looks quite good with that style because of that more bubbly design. It turns what is quite a soft looking car into something much cooler. But given the badge, it is a slightly more expensive car to modify than many other cars on this list, and as I said, it's harder to work onto in some areas. For example, if you want to have a consistent power across your 2 driven wheels on an MX-5, get a Torsen LSD for around 300 to 400 quid off eBay, but if you want the same for your Quattro TT, you'll need a Haldex controller programmed into the car to set up the power being sent between each of the 4 wheels. At the same time though, something that definitely helps is the turbocharged BAM engine, which isn't the absolute best for modifying, but it will give you 420 brake horsepower safely before you need to upgrade the flywheel, which has been done many times in the past by people like my good friend Street Mods Joel, so there are guides you can follow. You'll get 180 examples starting at £1,250, and for 2k you might sneak a BAM engine from 2004, but definitely don't sleep on the 180 if you want something more cheap and cheerful. Watch out for oil leaks, electrical issues, perished hoses, alternator failures and some suspension problems too on these, but in general they're not bad cars on reliability, and the main problems are very well known by now because of how well loved that engine is. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure the like button, I would really appreciate it, and subscribe as well if you're new here. Let me know in the comments down below which of the 5 cars would be your personal favourite platform to start a project on. As I said, mine with the MX-5, it is the perfect platform for a project car, coming from someone who's not a massive MX-5 fan, and I still own 2 of them. Huge thanks to the patrons for their support, and to you guys as well for watching. I'll see you in the next one.